getting to the point of the season where you can characterize things as a must-win, and that is the case tonight for both the Oakland Roots and Monterey Bay in a match presented by Ava Community Energy. Oakland-based Ava is the local not-for-profit clean power electricity provider to Alameda County and parts of San Joaquin County. Happy to have you with us this evening on ESPN Plus, alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. You look at the standings, and this is exactly why both these coaches are quick to characterize this as a must-win. Monterey Bay in 10th, Oakland in 11th, both still, though, within striking distance, but time is starting to run out here this year. And Ricky, Oakland has not been in the best of form as of late.
Oakland has struggled on both sides of the ball defensively. They're leaking goals far too easily. Their box defending hasn't been the best, and their willingness to win their individual duels in terms of their defensive set, that is going to be a foundation for this Oakland Roots side, because on the ball, they're actually doing a good job at scoring goals or getting numbers higher up the field here at home against the Monterey Bay side that has struggled. A big opportunity for the Oakland Roots.
You mentioned they've been doing a better job scoring lately, specifically Peter Wilson. Tonight's warm-ups are brought to you by UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals. 4 straight games with a goal for Peter Wilson.
Peter Wilson is going to be full of confidence. He's big, he's physical, but has very soft feet that he can bring in his teammates. His positioning higher up the field and the service into Peter Wilson will be crucial for the Oakland Roots if they want to pick up a massive 3 points here in the Coliseum.
We talk about maybe a recent slump for the Roots. It has been about a 2-3 month long slump for Monterey Bay, winless now in their last 5 games.
Monterey Bay is a team that is just looking for their identity on and off the ball, who they want to be in terms of their progression. Are they going to play a little bit more direct? Are they going to connect passes? And defensively, they've been all over the pace. So especially on the road where they have only once, their defensive set will be crucial to staying compact and winning their individual duels.
Help on the way, though. Tariq Scott just in the last week came on loan from FC Dallas, had about a half an hour on the field last week against San Antonio.
Tariq Scott is going to be a massive addition to this Monterey Bay side and how they want to attack going forward. He has the ability to run in behind, but also when he's isolated on the wide parts of the field, he has the ability to go 1v1. Look for him to really test the shape of the Oakland Roots in that back line.
Now, these teams have already met twice this year, once in the regular season, once in Jägermeister Cup. They split the previous 2 meetings with a win apiece, and guess what? The red cards usually fly when these 2 teams meet. Do not like each other very much. It's the Oakland Roots and Monterey Bay coming next on ESPN Plus.
Sana, sana.
Sana, sana, colita de rana.
Sana, sana, colita de rana. Si no sanas hoy,
Sanará mañana.
Infórmese sobre un seguro médico de bajo costo o sin costo con Anthem Blue Cross. Así usted y su familia pueden sana.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. You might not be related, but you're still family. You don't just give an extra hand. You give your whole heart and a whole lot of muscle. Because it feels good to raise up the community that raised you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Medalla, the mark of a fighter.
It's not a list, it's not a stock. Sold out shows, I'm in your city, in the lines around the board.
We're the Coliseum, baby. From the face of the universe. Oakland Roots make some noise.
Oh, city by the bay, let hope renew.
Love shall fill the streets of more than a few.
From every direction, let us converge.
A symphony of love leading a glorious surge.
Oh, city by the bay, let hope renew. Brilliant minds set us apart. A new course we shall chart.
Oh, San Francisco, be mighty, be proud. In love-filled hearts, may hope ring loud.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross. Sweet tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross, beginning with the Oakland Roots.
There's going to be a little bit of flexibility, especially on that front line for the Oakland Roots. Dom and Donor might flip-flop. Donor's going to give you the verticality on the right-hand side, but it all comes down to that middle three of Armenakis, Batash, and Gomez. Look for them to dictate tempo, slow the game down. Panos Armenakis filling the gaps underneath that front two. That'll be the engine for Benny Feilhaber and the Oakland Roots.
On the other side for Monterey Bay, this is a team for Jordan Stewart that he's tried to push different buttons to get things going. You could have a lot of influx from the bench with Soyberg coming in later, but he does tweak things in the 11 this time around.
The two wide parts are going to be really important. You see a Klein and Scott, the ability to go 1v1, to be expansive, but also to isolate their individual defender. If they do that, that allows Adrian Reblar, the number 7 Sunstreak, to make those runs underneath Ivanovic. That front three, they need to be expansive, they need to be aggressive to start this game.
These are two teams who, again, need this game in the worst way. More so Monterey Bay, because they've played an extra 2 games than the Oakland Roots. They have fewer opportunities with which they can impact their destiny in the standings. After tonight, 7 games remaining for Monterey Bay, 9 games remaining for the Oakland Roots. Everything coming down to the wire in the Western Conference of the USL Championship. Back in March in the regular season, Monterey Bay a 3-2 win over these Roots. More recently in June, the Roots a 2-1 win in Jägermeister Cup over Monterey Bay. The rubber match is underway from the Coliseum. Happy to have you with us on ESPN Plus. Alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malva. And right off the kickoff, you had Adrian Reblar and Peter Wilson coming together. Buckle up. These two teams, again, it tends to get very spicy when they meet.
Very clear, Joe, that both of these teams do not like one another. You talked about the red cards in previous matches, so everything between the ears will be crucial.
Speaking of between the ears, that's where Oakland and Benny Feilhaber feel they've let themselves down in recent weeks defensively. There was a moment this week where they spent 20 minutes of just straight defending on the training ground. When the defense would win it back, it's given right back to the offense, and they keep going and going and going. We'll see if that bears fruit here in this one. Flicked on, early efforts from Monterey Bay. There's an Oakland Roots team that started really well defensively under Benny Feilhaber. They've lapsed recently to some of their earlier season habits. There's your first look maybe at how Dom and Donor will be deployed. It does seem, as you pointed out initially and expected initially, that it is Dom further up the field than Donor, but they can interchange as the day goes.
Now, one thing that you will see from Jürgen Dahm and Maury Donor is the ability to be very direct within their movement to really test that left side of the back line of Monterey Bay. So Gadiri and Guzman need to do a good job at finding the balance. If Gadiri pushes high, Guzman needs to rotate over and provide coverage.
Last week for Monterey Bay at home against San Antonio did not allow a shot on target, and that 0-0 draw fed through here. Flag stays down, McIntosh off his line, and the flag does come up belatedly so on Ivanovic.
The work rate from Ivanovic is what you get within his movement. Loves to play up the blind side, and you have Johnny Klein, a player that likes to operate in between lines. So the relationship as one gets on the ball with the movement off of the shoulder of the opposition will be crucial for Jordan Stewart.
Oakland last week took a lead 6 minutes in on the road against Lexington. Gave up the 2 goals in that 2-1 loss in the last quarter hour. First goal, Benny Feilhaber said, was actually a bit of good defending and a bit of bad luck the way things transpired. He could excuse it, but what really perturbed him was giving up that second goal and letting what should have been 3 points become 0 instead of at least hanging on to 1. And that second goal was just a mistake. Defensive breakdown, one that they should not have allowed. So trying to get out here and get that taste out of their mouth from the last one.
Really good ball here from Armenakis.
Wilson is fouled.
Fantastic recognition from Peter Wilson as the back line of Monterey Bay is dropping, so you need to come to feet and play in between the lines.
Maury Donor delivering. Backstick Bravo was there, chested away. Corner for the Roots. Corner powered by Ava Community Energy.
This corner kick is brought to you by Ava Community Energy. Clean power, lower rates, brighter communities.
Gomez, good service, dropped it in right at the edge of the 6. Already seeing Peter Wilson pop up in some dangerous areas. A player whose confidence was completely shaken back against Phoenix in July. Look what he's done since then. 4 straight games with a goal. They had a 2-week break in there. He scored against Loudoun before that break, so he went into that break on a good spell of confidence and has come out the other side, continuing his scoring ways.
You and I had the ability to speak with Benny Feilhaber, and we talked about the attacking efficiency or lack thereof at that moment in time when they played against Phoenix Rising. He said he challenges attacking players just to hit the target. Don't try to pick out a corner, just focus on getting the ball on target and making the goalkeeper make a save. We've seen Peter Wilson do a really good job in terms of his mental side to stay with it, to trust his training, and he's in great form at this moment in time.
Faisal Batash unhappy with that call. Referee coming over and signaling that he was tugging the base of the jersey. It doesn't seem like he agreed with it, but goal still stands in the eyes of Thomas Snyder, and a free kick coming in a good spot here for Monterey Bay. For a team that has struggled as of late to get on the score sheet, have to make the most of set pieces.
This area is a nightmare for Kendall McIntosh to deal with as Sammy Gadiri stands over it with the Ying swinger, the quality of service and the traffic oncoming. Kendall McIntosh seems to do a good job in terms of his positioning and decision making.
Gadiri, it's that in-swinger you were talking about, but Dom heads it clear. Number still forward for Monterey Bay. And a foul called against the visitors. Let's take a look at the injury report brought to you by UCSF Health. The important name on here for the Oakland Roots is Danny Trejo. Just picked him up recently from Birmingham, and they said hoping to have him back in a week or 2 if all goes well. They call it week to week. So big to be missing him already after they just got him to be their impact player. That's perhaps why you're seeing Jurgen Damm in a more advanced position tonight. Would have been the game to see Danny Trejo as a starter. He subbed in the first 2 games, building up his fitness after he sort of fell out of favor in Birmingham and starting to find his way with his new team. And right as he did that, that's when the injury hits.
Yeah, you just look at the front 3 for the Oakland Roots. You throw in Panosar Manakis as the number 10 underneath Peter Wilson and what would be Danny Trejo. So lethal, so athletic, and so vertical within the movements. So once Danny Trejo continues to get back to health, that is going to be a fantastic addition in terms of the lineup for Benny Feilhaber.
Well, the results have been poor for Monterey Bay. Their last win came July 11th, 2-1 at home over Orange County. They've been in it and doing so against good teams. Back-to-back games they play the way the schedule happened to be laid out against FC Tulsa. A 2-1 loss and a 3-2 loss. So first place team in the West. 2 tight games losing by a goal. Games in which they had leads. They lose 1-0 on the road against Sacramento. They tie El Paso, a playoff team in the upper half of the Western Conference, 2-2. Last week against a top 4 team in San Antonio, a 0-0 draw. So it's 5 games in a row against top 4, top 5 teams in the Western Conference, and they were all ties or 1-goal losses. 2 of those 1-goal losses, they had leads. So it's so much to dissect and unpack, and Jordan Stewart in our conversation really just sort of steered into that. It's frustrating because of how it's happened, but also encouraging that for a team who really is still in it on a points basis in the playoff race, that they can turn it around. They are still right there.
It's those little minute details that make a massive difference when you're talking about 3 points, 1 point, or 0 points in USL Championship. Just look how tight the table is. So in terms of your defensive structure, reading your individual duels, having the right positioning in terms of your box defending, and then when you get opportunities, you need to be ruthless and you need to be clinical. And that is where we've seen Monterey Bay struggle, because through the run of play, they go like for like with the best in USL.
Bravo feeds it through. Dom. Donor. Dom wants it back. Donor gives it back. Flag stays down. It's a shot for a handball there from Jurgen Damm. It's given as a corner.
The positioning between Fair and Galloway needs to be a little bit better for Monterey Bay. Just one pass takes them out of the game and allows the Oakland Roots just to go out and be really aggressive with Jürgen Dahm and Maury Donor on the right-hand side already has been a point of emphasis for the Oakland Roots 9 minutes in.
Another corner powered by Ava Community Energy. Armanakis in swinger. Hackshaw. Batash has helped unlock things in the midfield ever since he came over from Tulsa. Armanakis lost it. He thought he was fouled. Could be off to the races here for Monterey Bay. Player stumbles on the near side. Carrying on, Tariq Scott, newly acquired. Dangerous challenge there. Came in high, two-footed. Good to see Donor get up from that without any issue. It didn't seem to be intentional anyway from Tariq Scott, but still awkward looking.
Tell you what, Batash gets away with one here, especially with transitional moments, getting caught out of position, the Oakland Roots. This is when those minute details come into play for Monterey Bay. It's a 3v2. You need to end this action with a shot on target.
A big note from around the league tonight. If you go to uslchampionship.com/league-standings, you will for the first time see an X next to a team name, as Louisville City have become the first team to clinch a playoff spot. That is with 8 games remaining.
Just incredible what Danny Cruz and Lou City have done in 2025. 3-1 at Indy 11. Didn't play their best, but yet they continue to find a way and just grind out results.
Yeah, in the quote-unquote rivalry game out there that has really lost a lot of its luster because of how one-sided it has been in favor of Lou City. And taking that a step further, Indy haven't beaten Lou City since 2022. And you have to go further back for the last time they beat them before that. It has been very one-sided in that rivalry. And to make matters better, by the way, you see 4 points of separation there now between Lou City and Charleston. Charleston lost tonight at Rhode Island 1-0. So Lou City not only clinch a playoff spot tonight, but they do creep closer to possibly that Players' Shield, that top spot, and all roads in the postseason running through Lynn Family Stadium. It only is a 4-point gap, but when you take into account how dominant Lou City have been, and there's only 8 games remaining, that 4-point spread between those two teams feels massive. And Lou City had the tiebreaker. They played 2 games. Lou City won them both. So it's really 5 points that Charleston have to make up. Tie is no good. Donor. Dom. Those two not quite in sync so far. Bravo. On a night like this where Donor and Dom are playing on the same side when they typically play the same position, it's fed through here. Wilson, flag stays down. Peter Wilson galloping ahead, forced wide by Nico Gordon. Played back for Donor. How difficult is it to start to get on the same page when you usually play the same position and are usually sub for each other, now asked to play together as a combo?
It can work for you, but also work against you, right? Because you have the same type of mindset. Maury Donor and Jürgen Dahm both want to run. They both want to be direct. They want to run in behind and really test the shape of the opposition. So that can also be...
Donor lays it off. Armanakis blocked. Mel Hackshaw steps up. Hackshaw chipping it through. Wilson tracking it. Peter Wilson, he gets in the way of the goalkeeper, Campuzano. Pinballing all sorts of directions and out for a throw.
I've really loved to see the movement of Peter Wilson that we've seen through the first 14 minutes here. Notice when this ball pops up, where he goes. He's just trying to invite the contact of Campuzano. Has eyes for the goalkeeper right here. just tries to put his body on the line and tries to go down and force the issue of Thomas Schneider. Just chaos within this back line of Monterey Bay, finally clearing their lines. But the Oakland Roots have started this game on the front foot just with their movement alone.
This moment of healing brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross Health Insurance, so you too can sana sana. Benny Feilhaber chatting with his staff. It was a really good and honest conversation we got to have with him this week. Benny Feilhaber really sat his team down and for the first time actually pointed out where they are in the standings and just wanted to let them know it's all in front of you and it's right there, but we have to get things going. And in an honest moment, he said there actually is a target they have internally. They feel if they pick up 18 points, historically and situationally, and given the teams that play each other and will cannibalize each other, they feel 18 points is the threshold that will get them in. So they're coming into the stretch feeling that 6 wins is their floor. Obviously, they want more than that to make it a safe bet that they make the playoffs, but they feel as if they at least need 6. 6 wins, that is. 18 points, 6 wins.
And in doing that, the Oakland Roots need to right their home form. Only 2 wins when playing here at the Coliseum, especially with the environment here, the fans behind your back, the historic nature of this stadium. You need to make this place a fortress, and unfortunate they've struggled in that.
Ivanovic, nice turn on Gagi. Ivanovic feeding it through. Nobody there on the backside. Johnny Klein came near post. Ball went far post. A moment to breathe a sigh of relief for the Roots.
Fantastic recognition from Ivanovic. He noticed how tight Gagi is, and if he can just turn his defender, now the whole field will start to open up. Has him for pace, and it comes down to decision making. If you are John Klein, you need to get on your bike because your top priority is to get goal side here of Maury Donor. Great little interplay and decision from Ivanovic. Now you're just asking for will from Klein just to crash towards that top of the 6-yard box, because that is a great ball in terms of the location from Ivanovic.
You say get on your bike for Johnny Klein. What if he's like me who can't ride a bike?
That's crazy.
You can't just assume that everybody knows how to ride a bike, Ricky.
I think that's safe that you
I think it's a safe assumption.
I was like, am I the odd one out that I can ride a bike?
No, it's me. I'm the odd one out here. Apologies. Traumatic childhood experience. On the throw, Rebellar knocks it centrally. McIntosh comes away with it. Roots fan, the 2025 jerseys are here, celebrating the return to the Coliseum and the legacy of Oakland sports. Fresh look, same Oakland spirit. Don't wait, get yours today. Shop now at shop.oaklandrootssc.com.
We're seeing Armanakis play a little bit of a different role. Early in this match, he's playing a little bit deeper, just trying to get on the ball and pull the strings from a deep line position, and doing that. That allows Jurgen Dahm, that allows Maury Donor and Peter Wilson to make those runs, and Gomez playing underneath. So it's a little bit of a tactical wrinkle that we've seen centrally for the Oakland Roots.
Sammy Gadiri to get it back into play. Former teammate of yours, has been a welcome addition to Monterey Bay now over the last couple of months. What he brings down that left back position.
Just pure quality, Sammy Gadiri. With the wand of a left foot to put in real service, and if you're an attacking player, it's a dream to have an outside back of his quality, but also has the work rate to match it. Notice how hard he would work up and down that left-hand side for Monterey Bay.
Back in the USL Championship this season after a season in Algeria's top flight, of Algerian descent, so wanted to go play in his home country for a little bit.
Good step.
Green gave it away. Klein with it now. Ivanovic deflected. And it angles out for a throw.
Just needs to be quicker in terms of the decision-making from Klein. You do a really good job at picking up this loose ball. If you can play quicker into Ivanovic, now he has more time and space to take his first touch out of his body and eventually have a shot.
Discounted kids tickets for just $5. This offer is available online only.
Rebellar serving, Hackshaw clearing. Nearly 20 minutes gone, neither side yet with a shot on target. Two shots both belong to Oakland, both off target. 75% of the possession going Oakland's way. Dinked in behind for Ivanovic, active in the early going. Luke Ivanovic, Klein, driving his way through. Johnny Klein in behind. Klein saved by McIntosh. Klein goes down, and Green gets away with it. When Klein watches that back, I think he would have wished he cut that ball back.
Does all the hard work. Tough challenge from Scott. But does all the hard work here. John Klein eludes about 4 Oakland Roots defenders, just so comfortable with the ball at his feet, how he just glides through. But once he does get to that final third, you need to pick up your head. Just no angle, no options. You have 3 of your teammates crashing towards the top of that 6-yard box. Like you mentioned, Joe, if you just pick up your head and cut it back, it's 1-0 Monterey Bay.
Elsewhere, a positive result right now for both of these teams. Sacramento Republic up 1-0 on the road over New Mexico. What has gotten into New Mexico? At one point, #1 in the Western Conference. They have not won a regular season game since June 21st against San Antonio. Since then, 4 losses, 2 draws, could be a 5th loss tonight. And before that win on the 21st, they had another loss and draw before then. So since the beginning of June, it has been dreadful for New Mexico when they were flying high. We're talking about them as being the 1 seed, and the Western Conference running through the lab out there in Albuquerque. Now in the live table, they're just 2 points to safety. Dom, Gomez, over to Bravo, Julian Bravo, almost got through to Wilson. Maury Donor settles, Donor denied by Campuzano. Still Donor, deflected, and it's a corner coming.
Good action for the Oakland Roots. It comes through the composure of getting numbers high up the field, but the first touch from Julian Bravo lets him down. And Danny Gomez does a good job at playing it, and you need to continue with the momentum to force a save out of Campuzano as this ball pops out to Maury Donor. Really aggressive action for the Roots.
Armanakis curls it in. Long throw from Hackshaw. Dangerous challenge there from Donor. Yellow shown immediately.
We've seen some Monterey Bay players very comfortable with very quick feet in tight spaces. Notice Agent Reblar, the ability to shift this ball from right to left. Catches Maury Donor leaving his feet. No need for the wingback for the Oakland Roots to try to win this ball that aggressively.
You can join in style this year with Roots premium seating, from all-inclusive Club Oak to field boxes or dugout seats. Great options for any occasion. Secure your tickets now by visiting oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or by calling 510-488-1144. Nice touch by Batash. Faisal Batash pushing it through. Wilson just beyond his reach as Gordon Intercepts it.
That's a wrong decision there from Batosh. You need to play that ball into Maury Donor.
How about that from Tariq Scott? Igniting this attack. Fed back his way. Advantage play. Scott puts it wide. They might have wanted that pulled back for the advantage. It would have been a free kick in a very dangerous spot for Monterey Bay. Players still down in the middle. Pierce Galloway.
This is exactly what Tariq Scott brings you if you are Monterey Bay. Notice his movement when he does leave the ball. Peels out this right-hand side. And again, if you are Galloway, you need to put it out in front of Tariq Scott so he can just run onto it and hit it first time. Good action for Monterey Bay in terms of turning their defense into offense.
Julian Bravo picked up a yellow for that foul that the advantage was given on. Another update that's significant in the Western Conference. Colorado Springs have taken a 1-0 lead on FC Tulsa. It's bad news for both of these teams. Both Monterey Bay and Oakland are looking up at currently 9th place Colorado Springs. And FC Tulsa, it seemed for a little while there like they would be running away with the top spot in the Western Conference. If they fall tonight, with Sacramento currently up 1-0 on the road over New Mexico, that's a race again at the top. Sacramento would be only 8 points behind Tulsa. They have a game in hand. If they win it, there'd be 8 games to play, and they would be 5 points back of FC Tulsa. So you could have a race again between Tulsa and Sacramento for the top spot in the West if things play out the way they currently are tonight. It's that time of year. We are less than 48 hours away from September. As soon as we get to the Burr months, that's when things really heat up in the USL Championship.
Not a fan of the Burr months.
Oh, I love the Burr months. Give me a temperature in the 50s.
No.
Give me a light sweater, a pumpkin spice latte. I'm good to go.
Oh my God.
I'm good to go.
Good ball.
Dom rolls it back. Still Dom out to Donor. Maury Donor's service. Bravo was there. Kept alive by Oakland. Hackshaw acrobatic. He was shoved down. He felt he was fouled. Referee saw it differently. Is it just me, or are we seeing a lot of those?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of dangerous challenges. This game is extremely physical. And you and I mentioned it at the top of this show. These two teams do not like each other historically. We've seen a lot of cards through the first 27 minutes. Both wingback for the Oakland Roots in the book of Thomas Schneider, Maury Donor, Bravo as well.
None of the challenges have been egregious that have connected and risen to the level of possible red, as Bravo's called for the foul here, but they've been close, where you're talking about a millimeter either way, or the foot rotated slightly differently, and we're having a different conversation where, again, we haven't seen it yet, but all it takes is one of those challenges in this rivalry to ignite things entirely. All it takes is one moment on a set piece to change the scoreline as well, and Monterey Bay with the next opportunity here.
Desired location for Moby Fair is right between this 6-yard box and penalty mark, right in front of Kendall McIntosh.
Drop it in that dangerous spot. Scott was there. Gagi heads clear. Secondary ball in. Dom gets to it this time. Scott active tonight in his first start for Monterey Bay. Guzman serving the header just wide. Johnny Klein can't believe it.
This first touch from Guzman is so good because, one, it allows him to attack the ball with the second touch of the ball, but also it gives John Klein the ability to time his run to perfection. Head up, and it's a textbook ball in. Klein does all the right things, plays in between Hackshaw and Goggin, and meets the ball and attacks it, but unable to get his shoulder squared, facing the goal to really test Kendall McIntosh.
It's two good opportunities now for Klein, and he would probably like back. It was that ball a little bit earlier that he should have squared centrally. Instead, it was saved by McIntosh, and then that one there.
We've seen glimpses of how good this Monterey Bay attacking unit can be. Sloppy again for the Roots.
Again, it's Klein. Galloway. Gadiri switching for Revelar. Settles it. Chips it past Bravo. How about that? Revelar now driving it through. Split the difference between Scott and Klein. It would have been the finish that was deserving of that epic play down the wing.
Start to the quality of Sammy Gadiri, the ability to hit a ball over 70 yards on a dime. And then a touch of class from Adrian Revelar. First to elude Julian Bravo, but put in a really threatening ball in the half volley. You see Benny Failhaber on the touchline of the Oakland Roots, just very animated, saying he wants his team to play quicker, but also they need more movement ahead of the ball from Peter Wilson and Jurgen Dahm.
Floated for Bravo. Hits it first time. Oakland side is Oakland's non-profit newsroom, providing you with the reporting and information on the stories that matter to you. Oakland side, news for Oakland. Hackshaw again gearing up for this long throw. Hackshaw is punched by Campuzano, and a foul called against Gagi. The USL on the CBS Sports Network kicks off September with a League One battle. Playoff contender and perhaps title favorite Spokane Velocity FC take on newcomer Westchester FC. That's Sunday, September 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern on the CBS Sports Network. You and I will have that one. We've seen both those teams this year. We saw Spokane actually beat this Oakland team in the Jägermeister Cup. They've risen through the table in League One this year. Westchester have been unlucky with some injuries, but they've had some moments in their expansion season in League One. That one should be a good showcase of two of the newer comers to USL League One. Westchester this year, Spokane the last couple of years.
A lot of talent on those two teams as well. Spokane Velocity, you look at players that have played at a really high level, done a fantastic job under Lee Wiedemann, and then Westchester, Obregon Jr. List goes on and on with the amount of talent on that. It's going to be a really good game. Much like we've seen at Championship, the table in League One extremely tight.
Anwar Pillai is on that Spokane team, formerly of the Oakland Roots, and scored against Oakland in that Jägermeister Cup game earlier this season. If Oakland ever have to go to the Pacific Northwest again, it'll be too soon. Faltered against Spokane this year in Jägermeister Cup and against Tacoma Defiance in Open Cup.
The positioning right now of Danny Gomez isn't good enough for the Oakland Roots. The number 6 needs to take more of a central role because we're seeing Batash and Panos Armanakis playing deeper. What that's doing, that is pulling out Moby Fair and Pierce Galloway, and that allows that acres of space in between lines that you need a pocket presence of. But the Oakland Roots are struggling because they are not finding Danny Gomez high up the field.
Bravo.
Good
Cut
challenge.
off. Well done. Joel Garcia down this right side. 23-year-old in his first season with Monterey Bay, formerly of the Town in MLS Next Pro. Did come up through the Earthquakes Academy and Monterey Bay's second team. It's been a regular fixture this year, making his 19th start tonight.
This right side of Monterey Bay has a lot of quality with Nico Gordon as well, a player that Jordan Stewart speaks highly of with his quality. Garcia saw his 1v1 ability moments ago.
Hackshaw, Batash. Maury Donor dodges, now lets it fly. Maury Donor! Brilliant! The Roots lead 1-0.
Fantastic goal here for Maury Donor. It starts with his mentality. Notice the amount of touches he takes, but notice how positive they are. This touch right here bypasses the initial line of pressure and allows him to generate enough power. Low and hard gives you a chance, and that is a lot of traffic in front of Campuzano. No chance for the goalkeeper of Monterey Bay, but what a great strike this is for Maury Donor.
Against one of his former teams. He started this year with Detroit City, came over to Oakland at the end of May, but he spent the last 3 years from 2022 through 2024 with Monterey Bay. Started every game the last 3 seasons for Monterey Bay before he left this year, and now driving the stake through the heart of his old teammates and his old staff. 1-0 to the Roots, 35 minutes in. Problem for the Roots is, can you hold it? They were up 1-0 last week as well.
Next 5 minutes, crucial for both of these sides for different reasons. For the Oakland Roots, can you continue with this momentum? Can you continue to put the pressure on Monterey Bay and try to score that second goal and put this game to bed for Monterey Bay? You cannot allow this thing to get out of hands. The way that you do this, take the sting out of this game, slow it down, connect passes, and that starts with Galloway and Moby Fair in central locations.
This is one of the key moments Benny Feilhaber talked about in our conversation this week. He said, if we get that first goal, we have to recognize the situation. We're at home against a rival, as Gomez is split through here, but at home against a rival that is in a very bad spell of form that could have their season on the line. And if we take a lead, we need to pummel them. It has to be nonstop, relentless at that point, realizing that in this situation, psychologically, that's when Monterey Bay is most likely to slump the shoulders, and the Roots have to be ruthless. And that's why you see him as animated as he is on that far side of the field. These next 10 minutes, to your point, massive.
Game management, especially when you're playing against a team that you just have so much history with in terms of the rivalry, the emotion. You talk about managing moments, right? Going to the corner, staying out games, but it's also the mentality in really important moments. Talking about the 5 minutes can tell you a lot for the remainder of this match.
On the flip side of that, for Jordan Stewart, this is gut check time for his group as it's given away at the back. And the foul, pardon me, offside. Offside is the call, not a foul. Assistant referee spotted it, but nearly a second there. On the flip side, for Jordan Stewart's group, this is what you have to avoid right now. You cannot allow that one goal to lead to a snowball effect here.
And it starts with the decision making. If you're Campuzano, you need to bypass this line. And as Danny Gomez does put a little bit of pressure on, he is about half of a yard or 2 yards offside. Good call by Thomas Schneider and his officiating crew.
Jordan Stewart acknowledged this is a must win. On paper, even if Monterey Bay lose this game, you're 4 points back of the play, or pardon me, 3 points back of the playoff line. But there's a lot of nuance to it, as Bravo has his cross blocked. Worked back for Gomez. The reason I say there's nuance to it, after tonight, Monterey Bay only have 7 games remaining. The teams above them, Oakland, have played 2 fewer games. Colorado Springs, 2 fewer games. The 2 teams just above the playoff line in Orange County and New Mexico, yeah, they've played 3 fewer games than Monterey Bay. So even though they'd be back only 3 points, it's a mountain because of all the games in hand. Every team above them have at least 2 games in hand. He acknowledged that elephant in the room. He knows, Jordan Stewart, that this is where it has to happen. This game for Monterey Bay. It could spiral if it doesn't happen here tonight. And now, gut check time, down 1-0 on the road in this must-win situation. Rebellar. Garcia. Looking for a response, a glancing header from Scott. Goes wide. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Friday, September 5th, Phoenix Rising take on Las Vegas at 10:30 Eastern. And Saturday the 6th, Rhode Island against Lou City at 7 Eastern. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings.
The positioning of Adrian Reblar has been a really good tactical wrinkle from Jordan Stewart. As he's coming centrally, he has the whole game in front of him, and that is when he is at his best because he is so quick, he is so direct, and it allows the players around him to be expansive. We've seen from Garcia with the quality of service, and then Tariq Scott doing a really good job at playing in between both center backs. So there's glimpses of how explosive this Monterey Bay side is. Where they struggle is not finding it on a consistent basis, and that is what frustrates Jordan Stewart.
It's an interesting position for Jordan Stewart. Took over midway through last season. Had to pretty much use the home stretch of last season to just determine which players from that roster he wanted to bring into this year as part of this roster. Now his fingerprints on this team, but not quite full turnover. Picked up by Gomez. First time hit, save made. Big rebound is there for Bravo, but he skies it.
Talked about being Danny Gomez, the key to everything for the Oakland Roots. Aggressive to hit it first time, but if you are Julian Bravo, just run through this ball. Notice how he stabs at it and gets his foot caught in the grass. If you keep your shoulders over and continue with the momentum, there's no chance that it goes up and over the crossbar. Big opportunity to get the double for the Oakland Roots.
It's an interesting spot for Jordan Stewart because I think we can agree he's done a really good job laying a foundation for this group, and there's certainly more key pieces who you could tell belong from this year's group into next year's versus last year to this year when he took over midstream. But we've seen this league become more cutthroat than ever, with more firings than ever mid-season this year because of how tight it is in the parity. So from the outside looking in, without knowing the inner workings of Monterey Bay, you just wonder if he'll even get that opportunity. He certainly deserves it with what he's put together this year and the foundation they've laid given the circumstances, but just don't know in the ever-changing nature if you get to see it through. Here's Bravo. Again, he skies it. Back-to-back efforts that are well off from Bravo.
Decision-making has been lacking through the last two actions for Julian Bravo, doing a really good job at finding himself into that final third. But as you come center, you have options that you can play into. Your least preferred right foot, trying to find that angle to bend it towards that top corner. Really difficult technique. What we've seen under Jordan Stewart and this Monterey Bay side is there is an identity, what they're trying to do, right? The execution hasn't always been perfect. No sugarcoating that, but moments like that, the decision making, it needs to be cleaner because he wants to be a coach that wants to get on the ball. They want to dictate tempo. They want to be possession based. So he's brought in players that fit that type of profile, that fit that type.
Scott brings it down. Scott battling still. He's pulled from behind.
Fans, be sure to stick around after the final whistle. About 15 minutes after the match, the skies above the town comes alive.
After all that, it ends up as a goal kick.
Just talking about the quality of service from Garcia Jr. and the positioning from Scott between both center backs. Does a really good job. I'll tell you what, there's a little bit of a pullback from Kai Green here. Number 33, notice the right arm is right here. Would not have had a problem. We see Thomas Schneider point to the spot, and that is the argument for every single player for Monterey Bay. Because as a center back, if you had that amount of physical contact, you are running a very close risk.
The consolation prize is, while you're showing me the replay, the officials conferred and switched it from a goal kick to a corner. But to your point, they feel they should be setting up from 12 yards out here rather than from the corner. Can they do something, though, still with the set piece? Two and a half to go here in this first half. Oakland up 1-0 on the goal from Maury Donor. It was his second of the regular season for the Roots. He's also scored in the Jägermeister Cup since joining Oakland. Rebelar whips it in. Green heads it clear. Not all the way, so too much traffic to get that ball through. Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the Academy to the big league, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Still mostly good news from elsewhere for these teams. The only result not going in these teams' favor is Colorado Springs up 1-0 on Tulsa. Both these teams would like to see Colorado Springs lose there. Sacramento up 2-0 now on the road against New Mexico. Birmingham up 2-1 on the road against Orange County. These late season cross-conference games, you are always rooting for the opposite conference. So Birmingham doing both these teams a favor right now. Had kickoff between Vegas and Lexington 15 minutes ago. They're scoreless. Kickoff between Phoenix and El Paso 15 minutes ago. It's 1-0 Phoenix. Donor earns another Ava Community Energy corner here for the Roots. He takes an awkward tumble into the ad board.
Good recovery from Sammy Gadiri. Not easy to stay like for like with a player as quick as Maury Donor takes a right angle at the last second and just closes it down. That is not a good sign if you are an Oakland Roots fan. Maury Donor signaling to the bench. The sub sign trying to force the issue. If you are Benny Failhaber, Maury Donor has been really active in this match.
Armanakis whips it in. He seemed to know right away, Maury Donor. You're right at halftime, though, so you want to see if you can get there and not burn a substitution window, but he's being tasked with defending right now, not 100%. Maury Donor hobbling his way over. Confronting Revelar all the way across to Ivanovic. Heavy touch negates the threat.
Just not enough quality on the first pass from John Klein. You need to put it out in front of Adrian Revelar to let him run onto it. It's a 3v3, so when you are in possession, your top priority is to engage one of the defenders and then play the ball. The timing was off, the location of the pass was off. Just needs to be a little bit better in terms of the quality for Monterey Bay.
2 minutes of KTVU plus stoppage time tacked on. Wilson, Dom. Bravo, get there. Batash. Final minute of stoppage. Gomez. Armanakis works it to Donor. Keep an eye on his ability here to get to the end line. He gets there with speed. Still a little bit hobbled, it seems, as he stops himself there and limps back onto the field. Looks like he'll at least be able to soldier on until halftime now at this point.
Just a change of pace from Maury Donor. Very impressive. Sets his defender up extremely well, slows himself down, and takes that long touch. But once that ball goes wide, the movement of Peter Wilson needs to be a little bit better. He needs to get goal side of his individual mark, giving his team an option to play to.
All the way back to McIntosh, who has really not had a lot to do. He's actually not credited with a save. Going back to that moment earlier for Klein, they actually did credit that as a cross, not a shot. So no saves in that first half for McIntosh. Though Monterey Bay threatened at times, they go to the break down a goal on a brilliant strike from Maury Donor.
Been the best player for the Soka Root side in terms of his mentality, how aggressive he is, and the width provided by Maury Donor. For Jordan Stewart, it's just about consistency, because you've seen how good they can be in transitional moments, but now you need to find it on a more frequently opportunity for Monterey Bay. Big 45 minutes coming up for both these sides.
And both these teams coming into the night, both coaches did not shy away from the fact that this was a must-win given the circumstances, given the standings. It's Oakland right now stepping up to the occasion, up 1-0 at the break on Monterey Bay. When we return, we'll take a broader look around USL Championship.
Eating a balanced diet and being physically active are two of the most important things that you can do to be healthy at any age. Fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins can help control your weight and prevent heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Regular exercise can help boost your mood, digestion, and sleep. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots encourage you to eat right and get active. For additional healthy tips, visit oaklandrootssc.com/anthem.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. You put on the biggest event of the year every single weekend, surviving the strongest storms, meeting chaos with composure. You roll up your sleeves to roll out the red carpet, because the end of the night for you is the beginning of the rest of their lives. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
O city by the bay, let hope renew.
Love shall fill the streets of more than a few.
From every direction, let us converge.
A symphony of love leading a glorious surge.
O city by the bay, let hope renew. Brilliant minds set us apart. A new course we shall chart.
O San Francisco, be mighty, be proud. In love-filled hearts, may hope ring loud.
These fans got to celebrate a first-half goal from the home side. Maury Donor supplies it for the Roots, up 1-0 at the break. All coming down to the wire now in the USL Championship. Every team inside of 10 games remaining on the season. For some teams, fewer than others. Oakland, after tonight, 9 games remaining. They get to stay home for a tough test against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds next week.
And then you go to Charleston, and Charleston has done a fantastic job at home under Ben Pierman. You go to Phoenix, Palmadou came you right the wrongs, losing points here at the Coliseum, and then you welcome Tulsa, who's been a really impressive surprise for 2025, sitting at the top of the Western Conference.
I think we've said it all year long. There are no easy outs in this league anymore. Maybe there was a little stretch of time in there where Las Vegas you could count on for 3 points, but that has since changed after their coaching change. There's nothing easy here, and 3 of the games are on the road for the Roots, so everything is important. And again, Benny Feilhaber said they feel they need 6 wins down the stretch to make the playoffs. On the opposite side, it is getting late early for Monterey Bay. Only 2 games beyond this. They only have 7 remaining after tonight, and they aren't easy. On the road against Colorado Springs, if tonight was a must-win, next week's a double must-win given the circumstances, and then it's a whole host of very hot teams that they play beyond that.
And Hartford has been probably the most informed team right now of all USL Championship. New Mexico, we've talked about their struggle. Sacramento actually beating New Mexico right now, and then you go cross-country to Tampa Bay, where you've only won once away from Carnegie Stadium. So if you are Jordan Stewart, it's 45 minutes. It's massive for your playoff hopes.
Colorado Springs have turned it around. Hartford have turned it around. New Mexico struggling. Sacramento hot. And even Tampa Bay have been playing better under Dom Caggiato. It is a nightmare of a schedule down the stretch here for Monterey Bay. That's why this one is so important. It's a team right next to them in the standings, a rival in the Oakland Roots, but they trail 1-0 after 45. More to come from the Coliseum.
Prinks tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines. From early mornings to late nights. From fun with friends to winner takes all. From the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks tires will be there for the long haul.
We don't stop chanting, we don't stop drumming,
yelling and screaming and chanting.
Back from the dead in the 90th minute!
follow them wherever, pretty much. That's just the love that we have for our team.
Sana, sana. Sana, sana, colita de rana.
Sana sana, colita de rana. Si no sanas hoy,
Sanará mañana.
Infórmese sobre un seguro médico de bajo costo o sin costo con Anthem Blue Cross. Así usted y su familia pueden sana.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. It doesn't just have great bones. It was the backbone of your community. So you breathe in new life, grinding away to make space for tomorrow, for your people. This isn't just a restoration. It's a revival. Because you're always willing to double down on your neighborhood. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
O city by the bay, let hope renew.
Love shall fill the streets of more than a few.
From every direction, let us converge.
A symphony of love leading a glorious surge.
O city by the bay, let hope renew. Brilliant minds set us apart. A new course we shall chart.
O San Francisco, be mighty, be proud. In love-filled hearts, may hope ring loud.
Getting closer and closer to kicking half number 2 here in Oakland. But before we get things going again between Oakland and Monterey Bay, we take a step back and take a broader look around USL Championship with some news and notes on the eve of September. A lot going on in Dallas. It's been great to see everything going on with that ownership group and Atletico Dallas coming in. There was a great interview with their leadership group from Devin Kerr this past week on USL All Access. Charleston Battery, well, they had achieved 9 consecutive home wins. They did go on the road tonight, though, and lose against Rhode Island. And FC Tulsa, 14 unbeaten. I don't think we've talked about that enough, Ricky. Given all the other storylines and the race atop the East between Louisville and Charleston, FC Tulsa have been outstanding, and we probably should be giving them more flowers.
And that little side is in real danger. Down 1-0 in the 90th minute at Colorado Springs Switchbacks. But what we've seen from Luke Spencer and FC Tulsa, they're just a team that is a nightmare to play against. They're direct, they're physical, they're big, and they continue to grind out results. And they've been a surprise in 2025.
We'll take a look at the out-of-town scores brought to you by Visit Oakland. Get out on the town and visit Oakland to explore arts, culture, and world-class cuisine. Since we last updated these scores, though, Orange County went from 2-1 down to a 2-2 level score line. These two teams want to see Birmingham get the win in that one. For now, it's Oakland up 1-0 on Monterey Bay. When we return, the second 45 in this battle of the Bay foes. A dazzling goal for 20,000 to witness a jubilation.
Prinks tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines. From early mornings to late nights. From fun with friends to winner takes all. From the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks tires will be there for the long haul.
We don't stop chanting, we don't stop drumming,
yelling and screaming and chanting.
We'll follow them wherever, pretty much. That's just the love that we have for our team.
It turns out Oakland sports fans won't have to wait long to catch another game at the Oakland Coliseum.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross. Look back at highlights from the first half of action between Oakland and Monterey Bay. Plenty of chances to go around. In fact, most of the better ones actually belong to Monterey Bay, but it was the Roots who took a 1-0 lead into the break.
There's a lot of attacking opportunities for both of these sides. It starts with Peter Wilson doing a really good job in being an option going forward. John Klein, I thought he was really good in this first half. The ability to run with the ball at his feet and bypass 4 Oakland Roots players, but the location, the final product, is what lacked for Monterey Bay, not having the ability to pull this ball back because he has 3 real options. And again, really good serves from Guzman, and even better off-the-ball movement from Klein. Notice how he plays in between Gagi and Hackshaw. This needs to be on target for a free header. And this is the goal. Maury Donor does a really fantastic decision that's touched right here to bypass Bobby Fair, create a little bit of separation, and just put it on target. You give yourself a chance because there's a lot of traffic in front of Campuzano. He can't see it, and when he does, it's already into the back of the net. Can the Oakland Roots find that second goal? That was always going to be a big talking point for Benny Fjellhaber. Julian Bravo, just continue to run through it. You stab at it, and it goes up and over the crossbar as we take a look at the halftime stats.
Efficiency is what you need from Monterey Bay. 6 shots, sure, but not on target. And they got into some really good areas there where all it would have taken was a redirect or just getting any body part on it, and it might have been 1 or 2 for Monterey Bay in that first half.
Chance creation is never a problem for Jordan Stewart because we've seen in the first half they do a really good job at getting higher up the field, at being really aggressive, but it's the composure or lack thereof in that final third. So for Monterey Bay, the challenge will just be take a deep breath, slow the game down, and make the right play when you're in around that attacking 18-yard box.
Xavi Nolati replaces Moby Fair at the break, the lone change on the Monterey Bay side. Oakland's lineup remains unchanged, which is good to see because Maury Donor had signaled for a change right before halftime. He soldiered on to the break and able to get whatever treatment he needed to stay on there now to begin half number 2 as we're underway. Oakland left to right in the black, Monterey Bay right to left in that light gray. Glad to have you with us on ESPN Plus with Ricky Lopez Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. Donor, the author of the lone goal in this one. A brilliant strike it was. Drops it back. Batash.
The sub for Monterey Bay is going to change things tactically for Jordan Stewart, specifically centrally. Pierce Galloway will be the lone single pivot. So now for the Oakland Roots, you need to be able to manipulate him, pull him out of positions for opportunities like this. If you find that pocket of space, the whole field will start to open up.
If you're Monterey Bay, you can't afford to sink any lower than you are in the table, and they need this one. Have to have that response here early in this half. Scott poking it through, Klein laying it off. Chance here for Nyolati. Rattles around. Oakland able to bring it back the other way.
What a start to that second half it would have been for the Oakland Roots, or excuse me, for Monterey Bay, if you were able to find the back of the net from a quick throw-in. Talk about the mentality for Jordan Stewart trying to catch this Oakland Roots side sleeping from set plays. In moments like this, with the quality of service that you have, whether it is through Sammy Gadiri, we've seen Guzman on the ball as well. You're looking for this ball to be lifted right around that penalty mark of your attacking 18-yard box.
Gadiri, what a ball that is, looking for Gordon. Forced to spring into action, Kai Green, and out for a corner. Oakland dodged the bullet on that opening opportunity for Monterey Bay. But can Monterey Bay find something here? Another early second half set piece. Good ball in, punched away by McIntosh. And a foul was called in the mix there against Monterey Bay.
Well done from Kendall McIntosh just to command his 6-yard box with the amount of traffic in front of him. That is exactly what Monterey Bay is trying to do. Get every single player and try to impede the run up from Kendall McIntosh.
I think coming into this season, now 2/3 of the way through it for the Roots, there were some questions among the fans. Paul Blanchette, a stalwart the last couple of years, one of the best keepers in the league, fan favorite. Well, how would you replace him after Oakland let him walk? Kendall McIntosh has been the answer. Local guy from Oakland, has been outstanding this year. 6 clean sheets, highlight reel saves. He's had a couple of editions where he's been up for save of the week. Might have to be called upon again here on the giveaway. Klein deflected and just beyond McIntosh, who let it go. It should be out for a goal kick, or did he misread it, and is it a corner? I think he misread it. It came off of a teammate. Corner on the way.
But these are moments that if you are Monterey Bay, you need to be a little bit more efficient in and ruthless. Do a good job at forcing an issue here from Ivanovic, but notice this ball in to John Klein. He's already making that run into the attacking 18-yard box, so you play it behind him. Difficult technique to stop your run, get your hips around it, and put it on target.
Sammy Gadiri getting a practice hack in. That would have been at the referee's ankles there. Gordon, Gagi, one of the ones beckoned over for this conversation. Kadiri curls it in, glanced on, loose in front, McIntosh parries away. Foul again, called against Monterey Bay. McIntosh rolling around, holding his face. A yellow shown to Ivanovic.
Sammy Kadiri has done a really good job at whipping the ball into a dangerous area. The high boot right there from Ivanovic. You always run the risk, very dangerous when you have your studs exposed that high and catching Kendall McIntosh in the face.
Close. I will say he did not hit him in the face there, so it's
you make the most
good
of
to
it,
know.
Joe.
He made the most of it, McIntosh. I just mean to say that there really isn't a cause for any injury concern here. He's okay. That hit him in the hands. Job well done. He earned the yellow card. The correction, that's Pierce Galloway on the yellow, not Luke Ivanovic. Oakland readying a change. They have Babosi Biarahanga getting set to come on. Told that'll be for Julian Bravo. That'll move some things around for the Roots. Will probably put Jurgen Dahm to left wing back and bring Biarahanga into the midfield. Donner still seems a little hobbled. Still carrying on. Nolati. Klein. One of the most dangerous players from the first half, Klein, but wastes that one. Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats.
Just a bit too slow for Monterey Bay. That is a really good opportunity with Nolati on the ball. You have a great run from Ivanovic, Klein, and Scott. You take a second, you take a third touch, just allowing the Oakland Roots yet again to get into the defensive set and turn their defense into offense.
Armanakis. Space for Klein. Chased down by Green and Dahm. It's too much for him in the end, the 2v1.
Just no real options right now for the Oakland Roots. It's only Danny Gomez playing right next to Maury Donor. That is when you need Peter Wilson to come to the ball side or make that looping run just to relieve some of the pressure. It's been a little bit too predictable right now for the Oakland Roots when trying to play out of the back. And 10 minutes into this second half.
Monterey Bay have still shown the same glimpses they'd shown in the first half. Inefficiency has just been their biggest bugaboo tonight. Yolati through for Klein. Last off green, it was another corner on the way.
Good off the ball movement from John Klein. We've seen him be really active and making these runs from central locations. And then when you have a player like Xavi Nolati coming onto the fold for Monterey Bay, you have a pocket presence within the mobility of your attacking players. So getting that relationship up to tempo will be the key to success at finding yourself back into this game.
Corner went out before it came in. Colorado Springs, by the way, did salt things away against Tulsa. They won it 2-0. So Tulsa's 14-match unbeaten run comes to an end. Here comes that change we teased a little while ago. Babosi Biarahanga coming into the match for Oakland. And he replaces Julian Bravo. Two changes coming as well for Monterey Bay. They'll hold off until the next stoppage. Back to Colorado Springs for a moment. That's a team I would want no part of if I were one of the top two teams in the Western Conference. They had won 3 straight games from July into August. They lost back-to-back games against Orange County and Phoenix, so it was a bit of a dip back after that hot streak. They win again tonight against the #1 team in the Western Conference. They just got Kyle Vassell. They just brought Cole Moroka back on loan from Columbus. That team is picking up steam with a championship pedigree after winning it all last year. And Tulsa should know, granted it was on the road at altitude in Colorado Springs, but that could very well be the first round playoff matchup. Those two teams meeting again, this time in Tulsa. And you saw it happen tonight. I would want no part of the Switchbacks if they sneak in. Currently still below the line.
Like, what momentum is everything in USL Championship, specifically when we approach the playoff and the playoff time. Colorado Springs starting to come into form, starting to go strength for strength as we see this Monterey Bay side dip into the bench.
By the way, this Monterey Bay side is on the road against Colorado Springs next week. Not where you want to be in a must-win situation. Pierce Galloway and Luke Ivanovic come off. Elijah Paul and Wes Funguk come on. And that's Funguk for Galloway, Paul for Ivanovic. Fresh legs out there in the attack for Monterey Bay. Set piece coming. Gadiri swinging it in. McIntosh tracked it, punched away bravely through the contact, and he was fouled. This is sometimes where I feel like goalkeepers are a little too protected, Ricky. Both went up for the ball and seemed 50-50 and clean.
Not a foul. Nico Gordon has every single right to challenge for this ball. He's not extending his shoulders away. He's not making himself bigger. He's just trying to attack this ball, and it's just two bodies colliding. Kellen McIntosh does win the ball. He punches it away, but it's not a foul on Nico Gordon. That is the argument for the center backs and every single player for Monterey Bay to Thomas Schneider.
Can't watch the match on Sirius XM FC 157. North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk. That includes USL All Access. That's on Tuesday nights. Plus, you get live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. All on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Now we're gone. Half hour remains at the Coliseum. Glad to have you with us on ESPN Plus. With Ricky Lopez Espin, I'm Joe Malva. Here's Tariq Scott. Scott cutting in. Scott saved by McIntosh and cleared by Akshaw.
He's been really active, Scott has, with his mobility and his directness, and I love the recognition of momentum here. Notice how he slows himself up and lets Gagi overcommits. Now he comes centrally. But as you have that final product, your eyes are trying to bend it towards that far post. Notice the location on this shot. It's just centrally. It makes life very easy for Kendall McIntosh, but give credit to Hackshaw to clean up the mess.
That actually ended up as an offside against Elijah Paul. He was in an offside position when the shot was taken, and he pressured Hackshaw into a clearance, so still goes down as an offside.
But as an attacking player, if you have the ability to cut it in your preferred foot, now you have the whole goal open. You need to pick out a corner. If you are Scott trying to wrong foot McIntosh toward the near post, or just trying to bend it away towards that far post, need more quality.
Garcia, corner. Set piece tally rising for Monterey Bay, just haven't done much with it. McIntosh goes down here. This moment of healing brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross Health Insurance, so you too can sana sana. Plenty of reason to be getting down right now in the supporters section for the Oakland Roots. Up 1-0 at home in a must-win game. If you take a look at the standings in the playoff chase for a team that is still very much alive in that race. Again, crunching the numbers and chatting with Benny Feilhaber internally, they feel as if 6 wins from these last 10 games starting tonight. This is game 1 of 10 remaining. They feel 6 wins in those 10 get them into the playoffs. Not a guarantee. It all depends on how the chips fall elsewhere, but they feel that 6 wins, 18 points gets them in. They'd, of course, love more than that to give themselves a bit of a cushion, but as it stands, 3 points off the playoff line, which is somehow now New Mexico after they were in first about a month and a half, 2 months ago. Corner swung in by Nolati, headed away by Dom.
With the amount of set pieces that we've seen Monterey Bay win, the Oakland Roots have done a really good job in terms of their box defending, which is something that they've lacked in for the last couple games that we've seen.
Oakland, should they hold on here, would be 3 points back of Colorado Springs on the same number of games played. They'd be 3 points back of New Mexico. New Mexico do have a game in hand, so the Roots would have to root for New Mexico to lose that game in hand, and then it's just a straight race. 9 games each, 3 points back. At some point when we get a break in the action here, you and I are going to play the win-loss game and try to map out the rest of the schedule for both.
Me on the hot seat, huh?
Absolutely, that's your job for both of these teams. Well, let's do it now. Why not? Well, oh, pardon me, that's why not. I thought it was going to be a Roots throw. My mistake. Got my answer right away from the universe. It's a lot different, the math and the calculus for Monterey Bay, and the live table would be on the same number of points, 24 as the Roots, but have played 2 extra games. So running out of real estate quickly, Monterey Bay. Armanakis. Wolfgang Prentice and Tyler Gibson getting set to come on for the Roots. Funguk. Garcia. Sammy Gadiri trying to weave his way through. Ahead for Scott, waved off, and McIntosh with it. So for Monterey Bay at Colorado Springs.
Loss.
Home against Hartford.
I'm gonna go win.
Home against New Mexico.
Tie.
Home against Sacramento.
Loss.
At Tampa Bay.
It's tough. I'm gonna say loss.
Okay. Home against Pittsburgh.
I'll say win.
Okay. And lastly, home against Vegas.
Win.
That's 10 points. That gets them to 34 points on the season. And again, using Benny Feilhaber's point of reference, because they crunch the numbers internally, and I'll trust them based on some of the analytics and some of the math they did in surveying the rest of the conference. They feel that 39 points is roughly that cutoff. So using that as a reference point, Monterey Bay 5 back of that need as those subs come in now for the Roots. On the other side, for Oakland, they do have those 2 extra games remaining versus what Monterey Bay have. Home against Pittsburgh.
Win.
At Charleston.
Loss.
Home Tulsa.
It's tough. I'll say win.
At Phoenix.
Loss.
At El Paso.
Loss.
Home Hartford.
Well, I said Hartford losing at Monterey Bay. I don't think Hartford's going to lose twice. So I'll say a tie.
Okay, at Vegas.
Monterey Bay
I'll say win.
At New Mexico.
Loss.
Home Lexington.
Win.
That's 13 points that they pick up after tonight, plus the 3 tonight, which is 16. And Benny Feilhaber said they think they need 18. So the way you see it, in that quick little spiel right there, as it's played through by Nyolati, they're 2 points off that pace. So it's going to be tough. That's why this is such a must-win for both of these teams. Monterey Bay, off that reference point of needing 38, 39 points to get in, you have them in that quick just gut analysis, 5 points back of it. Oakland, you have 2 points back of it. That could all change. It's a moving target. Maybe other teams lose other games and maybe you only need 36 to get in, but that just illustrates how difficult it's going to be for both of those teams, especially with the schedules they have coming up.
We agree with my assessment?
I do give Oakland 1 more win in there. I think they do beat Hartford coming west. It's a tough one for Hartford, a team who I think will cool off a little bit only because they may get a little complacent because they're slowly but surely becoming not just a playoff team in the Eastern Conference, Hartford. They're on the brink of becoming a secure playoff team.
Yeah,
they're in 5th now. So they aren't really playing for their lives anymore. It was the crucible of the pressure of being in last that fueled them on this run that started when you and I were on the call when they beat New Mexico, drubbed them 4-0. From that point on, they've been flying, but they don't have as much pressure on them anymore, so I could see them losing.
+22 remaining here for Monterey Bay, and still the tempo is far too slow in this phase of play. You need to be a little bit quicker at playing in between lines. Soyberg's going to come in centrally. He's going to give you a little bit more of an attacking threat. But once again, to this part of the field, it's just a little bit too slow, undecisive. You want a really dangerous set piece here to really test this back line for the Oakland Roots. We've seen Sammy Gadir put in some real good quality. Needs so here to allow his teammates to try to get on the end of it.
Soyberg has been the leading man in the attack this year for Monterey Bay. They need him to come up big down the stretch, not only this season, but down the stretch in this one tonight. Soyberg, good service.
Again, really good box defending there from the Oakland Roots. They've done fantastic in terms of their organization within the back line.
The other game going on right now is absolutely berserk, by the way. It was 2-2 at the half, Orange County and Birmingham. Birmingham made it 3-2 in the 52nd. 2 minutes later, Orange County tied. 62nd minute, Birmingham made it 4-3. 4 minutes later, Orange County tied. It's now 4-4 in that game with 25 minutes to play. While both these teams, again, are rooting very hard for Birmingham. That's why that game is significant. Gadiri. Niolati. That was a dive. Referee spotted it, said play on. Clipped in by Fonga. Good service, flicked on, and it is out for a corner.
Seen a lot of this type of service from Monterey Bay. Just hopeful balls whipped into dangerous areas. A lot of air underneath it, which allows this Oakland Roots back line just to read the flight of it. And with how physical dominate they have been through Gagi, Green, and Emil Hackshaw, really good in the air through that back line.
Monterey Bay have to keep the foot on the gas here. They've been on the periphery, just haven't been able to find it in the final third, and not there either.
eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball's free to play. Download now.
I don't got to download it. I've already got it. This is around the time of the game last week where the Roots began to crumble a bit. Different set of circumstances. Lexington had been pounding away at the Roots in terms of possession and chances. Monterey Bay haven't had that level of control in this game where the Roots, you could tell last game, there was a decent chance they were going to at least concede the tying goal. And then after that, the momentum for Lexington led them to the winning goal. But it was something that was drilled heavily by Benny Feilhaber this week. Asked him about how you really turn your team into a more mentally resilient team. As Scott picks up the yellow, you can't really practice that. It's just game reps. And he said, actually, we did spend time on it this week against maybe his better judgment because he asked for some advice from other coaches he respects. And they say you really can't push guys that hard, but they did it this week. 20 minutes, as we talked about in the first half, of straight defending. It was the ones versus the twos. The ones were defending for all 20 minutes. This one comes all the way through. Donor trying to pressure on the opposite side. But even when they would win the ball, it wasn't like they then just continued the game. They won the ball, they gave it back to the offense intentionally and reignited the attack. 20 straight minutes of defending for the first tier of the Roots to just make sure they can physically and mentally grit through it.
A lot of times when you get this deep in matches and trying to protect the results, it's everything, it's mentally, right? Having the right position, understanding the rotations and the coverages needed once the teammate gets pulled out of position, winning your individual duels and wanting it a little bit more. So big test for the Oakland Roots for the remainder of this game.
That ball stays in. Scott just picked up a yellow moments ago. Remember, has to be careful here. Already on the referee's radar. The best way to see off a game like this is to find an insurance goal, which they couldn't last week.
And it's interesting noticing when the Oakland Roots are trying to build out of the back, they're trying to play short. And what that's trying to do, they're just trying to bait out Monterey Bay's front line so they can bypass that initial line of pressure and open up more space, give players more time to attack that space and evidently try to find that second goal.
Fifth and final change coming for Monterey Bay. It'll be Diego Gutierrez for Tariq Scott, we're told. Just waiting for them to make that official. Armanakis swings it in. Wilson was lurking. He's 15 minutes away from losing his goal-scoring streak. Peter Wilson, goals in 4 straight games coming in.
Fantastic recognition from Tyler Gibson. Notice how Gagi on the ball right now is a center back, how aggressive he is. So Tyler Gibson recognizes that and drops in to make that line of 3 next to Kai Green and Hackshaw. Good play.
Prentice cutting in, harassed by Garcia. Still Prentice driving it through. Couldn't get it to Wilson. Scooped by Campuzano.
Substitution for Monterey.
And here is that final change.
Coming in the 77th minute, entering the field, number 16, Diego Gutierrez, replacing number 27, Tarek Scott.
Scott was good. He was really active for Monterey Bay in terms of his work rate, comfortability on the ball, directness, just continuing to get into form and comfortability with his new team. Diego Gutierrez is going to give you skillfulness, 1v1 ability in that final third. So getting him up to tempo for the 14 plus remaining here will be really important for Monterey Bay.
Ricky, I feel this is a question that we could have asked about Monterey Bay for the last 2 months, not even just for the final 12 minutes of this game, but what's next? What's the button you push in this situation? They've been so close ever since mid-July. 1-goal losses against top teams like Tulsa, Sacramento, ties in there against El Paso and San Antonio, but they just can't get over the hump. What do they need in a moment like this to finally get it done as Klein keeps it in? Klein.
It's simple. You just need players to step up and produce, because you look what Jordan Stewart's been able to do. He's able to lay out the game plan and get his players in right positions and dangerous positions higher up the field. Now it just comes down to the players, and Kendall McIntosh down again. Left side of your screen signaling to the Oakland Roots bench. But we've seen this Monterey Bay side find themselves into really good situations higher up the field, but you're just asking for players to be efficient. Talent is not a question for this attacking unit. They have talent, they have quality. Now it's just on to the players to come on and produce. Produce goals, to produce assists, and produce just plays. You look at the Oakland Roots in this game, haven't really created any clear-cut goaling opportunities, but it's just Maury Donor making a play from out of nothing. So you're just asking for that type of quality, that type of personality, if you are Jordan Stewart, for one of your attacking players just to shoulder that responsibility and silence the thousands here at the Coliseum.
That moment for Maury Donor, it's all the difference. One is just a player rising to the occasion. A mid-season acquisition for the Roots. That came all the way back in the first half, 34th minute.
Just the first touch here from Maury Donor sets his tone in terms of the mentality. Now when pressure comes, take that second touch, which allows him to attack the ball. And notice the amount of traffic right in front of Campuzano. He can't see it. When he sees it, it's too late. Placement to perfection for Maury Donor, and that is the difference in this match.
Still working on that left leg. McIntosh. It's gone down a couple of times because of it. All Jordan Stewart can do is lean back on the ad wall. He's stern faced as he looks on. He's seen this movie time and again over the last couple of months for Monterey Bay. Possible head injury stops it here for Wilson as he went up for the challenge. After Benny Feilhaber took over for the Roots, a lot of the conversation was about how much they improved defensively. If they're able to hold on here, this would be their first clean sheet since July 19th. 2-0 win at Loudoun. Since then, losses of 2-1 to Colorado Springs and Lexington, and a 3-3 draw in there against Sacramento Republic.
And the amount of pressure that they've been under in this game, a lot of balls being whipped into their defensive 18-yard box. The Oakland Roots have done a really good job at clearing their lines and providing coverage off one another.
A lot of it just situational stuff. I mean, they had that 1-0 lead against Phoenix back in mid-July, lost that one 2-1, with those goals coming 10 minutes apart in the second half. The 2-1 loss to Colorado Springs. The Switchbacks scored 2 minutes before halftime and 4 minutes at a halftime. That's when teams are susceptible, letting your guard down before or after a half. Roots succumbed in that situation. Against Sacramento, they had a lead of 1-0, and then they had a lead of 2-1. Now it's played through. Can they hold on here? It's just wide of the far post on cue. Just moments where they have lapses. That off of a restart. Let their guard down, and Elijah Paul should have made it 1-1.
Monterey Bay needs to find the back of the net here. Fantastic ball in from Soyberg, but you need to go with your right foot if you are Paul. Open up your hips, attack the ball, and if slot it towards that far post. You try to go with your left foot. It's a really difficult angle to come across your body, especially when Kendall McIntosh is coming off of his line. It's little decisions like that that continue to haunt Monterey Bay.
Soyberg. McIntosh tracking it, lets it out. For a goalkeeper who is clearly hobbled here tonight, it has felt like he has been forced to run an inordinate amount for moments like that. Some bad luck for McIntosh.
Yeah, this is exactly what we've talked about with the Oakland Roots maybe electing to play short. Now you engage 2, 3, 4 Monterey Bay defenders and trying to open up space so you can play direct and gain some real estate just like this.
Donor. Roots will get an extra day off this week. They don't play till next Sunday, the 7th, when they host Pittsburgh. That'll be a Pittsburgh team that is chomping at the bit to get back out there after losing to Tampa Bay. Armanakis goes down. Tried to sell it. Referee not buying. Goal kick.
Soyberg has done a really good job since coming onto this field. The recognition of space, the technical ability in tight areas, but also the final ball to really unlock this back line for the Oakland Roots.
Gadiri on that right foot, his less preferred foot, still gave it a good go, but blocked.
But again, Joe, that ball needs to be popped in to Diego Gutierrez from Sammy Gadiri. You make this back line or the Oakland Roots collapse, the space is the wide parts.
Falls for Klein. I don't think he ever thought that ball was getting through to him. Oakland readying 2 more subs. Cam Riley, E.J. Johnson both set to come on. Yellow being shown here. Referee calling a player back to receive this yellow. And it's shown to Biarahunga. Peter Wilson will give way for E.J. Johnson.
Yellow card issued Oakland with number 18, Babosi Biarahunga. Card issued in the 86th minute.
Peter Wilson was active, especially in that first half with his movement off of the ball. Only didn't get the service that he would have liked. 4 goals in his last 5 games. Peter Wilson, a player that is just continuing to get better and better as 2025 progresses. E.J. Johnson now coming onto this field. Going to be an outlet and a relief valve for the Oakland Roots, the ability to stretch the field, run in behind, and be very vertical. So expect the Oakland Roots for their 4+ remaining here to play a little bit more Route 1, allowing Johnson to stretch his legs.
Phoenix Rising have woken back up again after a 4-game lull where they lost 4-1, tied 3-3, lost 2-0, tied 1-1. They had a 4-1 win last week against Colorado Springs, and they're up 3-0 tonight at El Paso. Welcome back, Phoenix Rising. They had a little bit of a dip, back on the upswing now at a key moment for Pamadou Kaz Group. That game near the hour mark. Vegas still up 1-0 on Lexington. 8 minutes into the second half. Orange County and Birmingham surprisingly haven't scored since the last time I updated you. Still 4-4 in that one. Now Danny Gomez picks up a yellow here.
The Oakland Roots bench is irate at that decision. I believe that E.J. Johnson gets the right body position of Nico Gordon, shields him off. Danny Gomez as well gets a yellow card for dissent.
Riley nudged down.
Awkward fall from Camden Riley, but does a really good job at recognizing the space in behind him. And when he does, he drops quickly. This is a foul from Paul. How he just drops his shoulder through the back of Camden Riley. And every single player for the Roots that has come onto this field has really impacted this game in a positive manner.
Love the mentality of Riley. After he gathered himself, after he was fouled, waves up the supporters section as he was down in that corner. 90 seconds remaining in the 90 minutes. No official word yet on stoppage time. 15 shots tonight for Monterey Bay, 2 on target. And that's been the story in this difficult stretch. They've played a really decent brand of football from box to box in this stretch, Monterey Bay. Had lapses in their own box defensively. They haven't been able to convert in the attacking box offensively. That's why their record has been what it's been, and why their playoff hopes might be next to nil if they do officially lose here tonight. Told there will be 8 minutes of stoppage time coming up. Plenty of time still for Monterey Bay to find an answer here. Hackshaw sending it long.
Again, similar foul called as we get confirmation of 8.
Officials indicate there will be a minimum of 8 minutes of stoppage time here in the second half.
Stoppage time brought to you by KTVU Plus. 8 minutes tacked on officially. Funguk. Service whipped in. Klein was there. Gagi got a head to it. This is going to be a mental test for the Roots, given their recent lapses defensively in key moments. Monterey Bay, desperate times. Soyberg blocked.
It's been impressive for the Roots. The ability to win their individual duels, but also their positioning has been flawless throughout their defensive set.
Good battle here between Armanakis and Garcia. Armanakis wins it, and Garcia will see yellow for it. Well, I can read lips there, and he's maybe fortunate that he did pick up an immediate second yellow.
Needs to be really careful, Garcia. He's not happy with the contact between him and Panos Armanakis.
You think? It's Gagi down back behind the plate. Told from someone down on the sideline that referee Thomas Snyder, in the aftermath of this, just looked over to the referee, to the fourth official rather, and signaled to add another minute on. Johnson down. All these moments here are frustrating for Monterey Bay. Every foul they commit is an opportunity for the Roots to take another 30 or so seconds off the clock.
Need better decision making here from Nico Gordon. No need to be that aggressive at trying to win this ball. Lines up EJ Johnson. And a really tough challenge for the center back of Monterey Bay. Those two players have been going at it since EJ Johnson has came onto this field.
Played in on the free kick. Gagi heads it square. Johnson drives it. Snatched by Campuzano. Wants to ignite this attack quickly and does. When he doesn't connect with a teammate, Hackshaw glances it back to McIntosh, who will wait and wait and wait and wait and gather. For the Roots at this point, it's just a matter of holding on here in these final 5 minutes. It has not been a night of champagne football for Oakland. It has been sparkling apple cider at best, but the result there, up 1-0, still with 5 minutes to play. And in a tight playoff race, it doesn't matter how it happens, just that it does happen.
The efficiency is all that matters in terms of the result for the Oakland Roots. Side of a good team is not playing your best football by any stretch of the imagination, but yet still finding a way to grind out results. Talk about what has been lacking for Monterey Bay. It's just players not making plays, and that has been the difference. Maury Donor takes it upon himself. Good strike, finds it back of the net, and that has been the difference.
11 shots, 5 on target, but to illustrate how little they've actually threatened, the expected goals tally, you expect it to be pretty decent when you've got 5 shots on target. It's 0.5 for the Roots. And again, it just shows you almost all of those efforts have been distance, half-hearted, seen the whole way by Campuzano, no real threats. But to your point, Big player, big moment. Maury Donor made it 1-0, 34th minute. It's been this way ever since. And now another free kick on the way for Oakland. This is where you have to watch out and not pick up a silly red card for either of these teams, both with massive games coming next week, with these two teams having a history of not just red cards, but late game brawls that lead to red cards. This is where it can spill over.
Clever from Wolfgang Prentice. Ability to kill off a game deep in your attacking corner. Just slows himself down, invites the contact, and if he feels anything, he's going to go down.
Johnson. EJ Johnson. This is where his big frame comes into play. Able to hold it up here. Well done. Armanakis, cheeky. This feels like something is going to spill over in these last 3 minutes. Even just that, Armanakis waving to the crowd right in front of those downtrodden Monterey Bay defenders. Buckle up. And I don't say that just because it's a rivalry, again, because there is history here. In the last couple of years, at least once a year, these teams are good for a post-game brawl. Prentice charging in here. Or post-game or late-game brawl. It's happened in both instances. Kai Green was actually on the other side of it last time when he was with Monterey Bay before rejoining the Roots this year. Free kick given.
Frustration evident for Monterey Bay. Amadi, Nico Gordon coming off of his line as well. No need to engage in anything towards that sideline. Oakland Roots is going nowhere. They have no help. Just move your feet, try to recover the ball. Precious moments and seconds drawn off of the clock.
And Armanakis picked up a yellow for time wasting.
Yellow card issued to the Roots number 10, Panos Armanakis. Card issued during stoppage time.
Armanakis chips it in. 40 seconds remaining of the 9 that were given. But remember, earlier in stoppage time, our official indicated to the sideline that he'd be tacking on at least another minute. So any guess as far as when this whistle could go? And there is the final whistle. The Oakland Roots, in what they characterize as a must-win game, emerge victorious over a rival. The playoff chase for the Roots still on, and the playoff chase for Monterey Bay not done yet, but that possibility is fading by the second.
Professional win for the Oakland Roots. They needed to have 3 points. They got 3 points, and it all on the shoulders of their defensive effort. They were fantastic at defending their box, winning their duels, and their positioning. Benny Feilhaber has to be really proud of getting a clean sheet here at home.
That clean sheet is brought to you by Family Laundry. Family Laundry is an Oakland-based business serving commercial and residential customers with pickup and delivery laundry services throughout the Bay Area. So a big clean sheet for the Roots, and that clean sheet helps make the goal scored earlier your winning goal. Brought to you by the Fighter of the Match, presented by Modelo, a reward for those with a fighting spirit. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. It's Maury Donor tonight.
Yeah, really good goal here from Maury Donor. Takes that second touch to elude Moby Fair, and then it's a clean strike. Low and hard, a lot of traffic in front of Campuzano. He can't see it, and Maury Donor, big-time player, standing up in a big-time moment to give the Oakland Roots all 3 points.
1-0 victory for the Roots on that goal. Goes over to celebrate with the bench. Final score presented by Anthem Blue Cross. Oakland 1, Monterey Bay nothing. We're back in a moment to put a bow on things from the Coliseum.
Eating a balanced diet and being physically active are two of the most important things that you can do to be healthy at any age. Fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins can help control your weight and prevent heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Regular exercise can help boost your mood, digestion, and sleep. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots encourage you to eat right and get active. For additional healthy tips, visit oaklandrootssc.com/anthem.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. You might not be related, but you're still family. You don't just give an extra hand. You give your whole heart and a whole lot of muscle. Because it feels good to raise up the community that raised you. You are a fighter. This is your reward. Medalla, the mark of a fighter.
City by the Bay, let hope renew.
Love shall fill the streets of more than a few.
From every direction, let us converge.
A symphony of love leading a glorious surge.
O city by the bay, let hope renew. Brilliant minds set us apart. A new course we shall chart.
O San Francisco, be mighty, be proud. In love-filled hearts, may hope ring loud.
Celebrations continuing here at the Coliseum. Final score presented by Anthem Blue Cross. Oakland 1, Monterey Bay nothing, and you could tell it means a lot to these players here for the Roots, given the circumstances against a rival in the playoff. Chase, they take all 3 points. Let's take a look again at how it all went down.
Starts with Monterey Bay doing a really good job. John Klein, I thought he was a really bright spot in that first half. He had a good ability to run with the ball at his feet, but at the final action that continued to lack for Monterey Bay because they had opportunities but unable to find the back of the net and really put pressure on the Oakland Roots, and this is the difference of this match. Murray Donor with the aggressiveness, the verticality, and the mentality just to cause a little bit of something and chaos. That second touch eludes Moby Fair. A really good strike to find that bottom corner to give Oakland Roots a 1-0 lead right before halftime. And the second half was just these half opportunities. This is the best. If you are Paul, you need to run around this ball and go with your right foot, because if you do, you have a better angle. No option to try to wrong foot. Kendall McIntosh does a good job at closing down the angle. Roots take all 3 points.
So here's where we stand. It's a misnomer to say that Oakland and Monterey Bay are tied because Oakland have played 2 fewer games. Ricky, they're 3 points back at that playoff line now. It's anybody's guess as to how this plays out the final few weeks.
For Benny Failhaber and the Oakland Roots, you take one game out of a time. You take 45 minutes, 1 half, and it starts again with next week, where this is a massive result for the Oakland Roots and their playoff hopes.
Next week, they host the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and next week, Monterey Bay go on the road against Colorado Springs. You could still flip over, catch the last 20 minutes of either Las Vegas hosting Lexington or Phoenix hosting El Paso. But that'll do it for us here this evening from Oakland. Thank you for joining us this evening. Oakland Roots and Bart want to make sure you get home. Visit bart.gov/planner to plan your trip now. For the crew that makes this possible, the broadcast partner Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malva saying so long for now. The Roots take it 1-0 over Monterey Bay. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.